Tonight on the Mac to the Future livecast, go! Telegram's founder Pavel Durov is not happy with Apple and went off on a very public rant about it. The New York Times claims Apple has compromised Chinese users' security with its iCloud servers based in China, and is a new Mac Mini Pro in the works for this year? Maybe. We'll talk about that and more on the Mac to the Future livecast. Go. Good evening. I am so glad to see you all here tonight watching the Mac to the Future livecast. Go. Warren could not be with us this evening. However, I am not alone, thank God, because you know that never ends well. We do have Mr. David Ginsburg. Hello there, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. Trying out a different mode on my camera here, using the iPhone and portrait mode here, so you can kind of see. It's got a nice focus on me, a little blur in the back, and looking good.
Yeah, a little bokeh going on there.
Yeah,
it's bokalicious. Is that how it's
Bokeh Loco Wickish.
Bokeh Loco-licious. Almost sounds like some of those old 60s and 70s breakfast cereal commercials. It's bokalicious. Come on, kids, eat all that sugar. Look what it did for me.
Screwy rabbit, tricks are for kids.
Screwy rabbit. Oh my God! There's actually a good joke that I'm not going to tell right now that kind of goes along those lines. But let's just get right into it. There is, and there is so much stuff. And I imagine when we do your show, In Touch with iOS, tomorrow night at 8 p.m.
Yes,
Eastern Standard Time, because I will be a special guest on that show tomorrow night.
Yes, you are.
That we may talk about some of these things. But there is so much more. There's so much more going on right now. It is.
Oh, trust me, I have a long list.
It's a little nuts right now, which is good for us. Is it good for Apple too? Who knows? Dave, I don't know if you heard about this.
I didn't. So
but
this will be new for me.
There was a MacBook leak in April that may have tipped Apple's hand in releasing a faster Mac Mini with a better processor and more ports. According to analysts, this will mark the end of Intel-based Mac Minis. So, whether or not this is true, whether or not there is a new, faster, better, $6 million man Mac Mini coming out, the end of Intel-based Mac Minis, which will probably, I'm guessing that's going to be like the first Mac that goes all M series, is coming, and it's probably going to come before the end of the year. I still say that by December of this year, they will have transitioned all the way out from Intel.
Except the Pro.
Sorry?
Except the Pro.
Well, I think that's going to be like a new machine when they come out with the Pro, because they sell a Mac Pro right now, but that came out in 2017.
But there's talk of a new Mac Pro that's going to not be Intel. Or it's going to be still Intel, excuse me.
Really? Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll see about that. I think that I just can't see them coming out with new Intel-based Macs at this point. I just can't see it.
Other than the Pro, but the Pro is going to be Xeon and high end, and going to be a number of cores, but they also could come out with the new M series for the Pro. We're talking about 30 cores or some crazy number.
I was reading about that as I was putting some notes together for the show. I wasn't sure whether I wanted to bring that up, but that's the M series processor at this point really the most that they can, it's almost like Moore's law in reverse, because they're not going to be any faster as far as clock speed goes. They just throw more cores at it, and software becomes more and more, multi-core enabled. So whether or not you have, 5 gigahertz cores blazing along at whatever speed that they can get out of it without it melting your desk down, they just toss more cores at it, and
Right.
and it's essentially the same thing. It's a faster chip, not because of the clock speed, but just because there's more cores there to do stuff.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, I could see the line going all across the line, and they're going to be M series machines, in no time. I think right now the excitement is the iPad, and not to change the subject, but I'm pretty anxious. I've already watched the pre-reviews from all the influencers like Marcus Brownlee and Renee Ritchie, and then they're raving about it, and they're also, I was surprised at Marcus Brownlee saying that he prefers the 11-inch, and he was very surprised that Apple decided not to put the better screen in the 11-inch as well. But
it still has the M1 in it, though, right?
It has the M1 in it, which I'm pretty psyched about, and you're going to still get the performance. You're just not going to have the video as you did with that you're going to with the 12.9 inch, and he of course got the 12.9 inch to demo, but he admittedly said that he's going to stick with this, like the model you have, or we have currently. I have currently the 2018, because he's fine with it. It's there's no
we can't use the power that we have now.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm doing it only because I'm getting a good trade, and I decided just to jump in because it's 3 years old. I'm good to do it, and everybody's raving about so far these influencers. I mean, definitely I can look forward to it. I think it's supposed to. I'm anticipating it's going to ship. I'm hoping this end of this week, and I'll have it next week to start.
I just got mine last year, so I don't know if
because you got the 2018, but you bought a newer.
I got that through B&H for
B&H, right? No, deal. I mean, the 2018 is a perfectly fine iPad.
And we have this comment here. How do I see the live feed? If you're watching this right now, you're seeing the live feed now. If you want to have your avatar from Facebook and your name appear, you have to go to StreamYard.com/Facebook and give the application permission to use it, and then you'll be good to go. And I don't know what this means, but it doesn't look good. So we're just going to skip right past that. Yeah. The next thing I have here, new iMacs are starting to show up, and you'll be able to buy nearly all of the new gear, which includes not just the iMacs, but iPad Pros and the Apple TV 4K in store by Friday. So that's 2 days away from, because today is Wednesday, May 19th. And so by the 21st, they should be in store somewhere near you. So most, I guess, a lot of the stores are opening up now.
Yeah, I think pretty much most of them now these days.
Yeah, I know.
They've still got the mask mandates, even though they've the CDC said otherwise. But I think Apple had declared they're not going to change at the moment for now.
The weird thing is where I work, they just released an email saying that if you've had the vaccination, that you can now walk around without a mask. But at the same time, you can't ask people whether or not they've had the vaccination. So it's kind of like, well, okay, I guess I'm making it up as I go along. I
think pretty much anybody's pretty open to tell you if you're vaccinated or not. So,
well, I mean, they can't come up and say, show me your card.
Oh, right,
that you've been vaccinated, and at least where I work, they can't ask you. They can't force you to say whether or not you've been vaccinated, which to me seems like a contradiction. It's like, okay, well, you're saying that we can now go around without masks if we've been vaccinated, but we can't ask people who aren't wearing masks whether or not they've been vaccinated. So it's like,
right,
okay, so I'm wearing a mask at work.
But speaking of the iMacs, another influencer, Justine, I don't know if you saw her video. She got
all 7 of them.
She got every single color and she unboxed every single one of them. It was like the most incredible thing to see. I'm not surprised. She's they're all influencers. I mean, she probably gets to keep them all too. But
I have to admit something. I did not buy an M1 Mac Mini, but if
you mean iMac.
Oh yeah, M1 iMac.
You have a Mac.
Each one in each color comes with an Apple sticker that has the color of that.
The color
with it.
Yeah.
And I looked on eBay to see if anybody was selling those stickers.
I'm sure they are.
I don't necessarily. I mean, I've got basically the same machine with more ports actually with the M1 Mac Mini that I have. So I'm not looking to get one of those iMacs, but I do want those stupid stickers. I don't know why.
Everybody does. And then I just talked about the iPad Pro. Then the Apple TV, I'm sticking with what I got, but I did put an order in for the new remote. I want to try it out and see how it goes. And $60, and see how it is. But it's exciting. Get some more new products coming in, and we'll definitely be talking about them. That's for sure.
And do you think that they'll? And I'm going off the notes here, but do you think that there'll be another event next month in June ahead of WWDC?
No,
they're going to wait. Until
there's nothing.
July.
No, I think WWDC is the next.
Oh no, WWDC is in June. It is in June.
It's June. It's coming up. Yeah.
Okay, so they're not going to announce anything this month because this month is basically over.
They've announced things before in Dub, so I wouldn't be at all surprised if something got announced.
I think they are going to. I think there's going to be some hardware announcements.
Yeah, probably the new MacBook Pros, the 16, the 14-inch,
or whatever size they end up.
On the maybe the next gen processor could be whatever they're calling it.
Yeah, whether it's the M1X or the M2 or whatever. Yeah, but you were talking about them having 30 cores.
That's what I had saw the rumor about the Pro.
12-step Windows recovery program. Yeah. Take advice from someone like me for your computing needs because that's what you want to do. Moving on, the release candidate for Big Sur 11.4 is out just as the 11.5 beta is released for developers.
Did it get released? I just updated it on my beta machine.
What, to 11.5?
To 11? Yeah. No, I went to RC.
Oh, the 11.4 release candidate. Yeah, that's what I was, because you and I were talking like about an hour ago, I guess. And I was in the process of updating the Mac Mini to 11.4. But I haven't seen...
you have it on beta?
Well, I'm on the release candidate for 11.4. I'm on the beta program for this.
Oh, that's right.
This isn't a separate machine, which is like the first time ever that I've been using beta software on my main driver.
Yeah, because of your Bluetooth issues and.
Yeah, and so every single time I see one come up, it scares the hell out of me. It's like, do I really want to do it? And it's like, okay, we'll keep going.
I don't think that the 11th, did they announce 11.5? I didn't see it.
It said that it's available for developers at the same time that the release candidate for 11.4 came out. That was actually, let me go to no, that's for updates. Let me get rid of that. I saw it in the news app. News. So while I'm waiting for that to happen, I know it's here someplace. All right, I'm not gonna worry about it right now. The next story I have is an updated app store. Have you seen this yet? For the iPad?
Oh, you mean the updated? I thought it was the updated
Apple
support
Store for the iPad.
Oh, right, the store, right.
Yeah, it's supposed to look a lot like the Apple Store. Actually, it did to me for the Mac. A sidebar has been added, and it makes it easier to add accessories for your iPad. You can also check order status and find virtual sessions and training all through the Apple Store for iPad app. And I've said this a couple of times now that I really, really believe that they are looking to merge iPad OS and Mac OS within, I'm going to say within 2 years. Within 2 years,
I don't see that.
There'll be some kind of Mac-ish OS that's going to run. It's going to be running on an iPad. All the apps are starting to merge together. A lot of the features are starting to merge together. I think we are this far away. I think they might just be waiting until the transition over from Intel is complete, and probably not for Big Sur, but whatever 11 or I don't know. Do you think they're going to go to? Well, I guess they have to go to 12 at this point for OS numbering, because they're doing 11.1, 11.2, 11. All the way through.
Right, we're at 11.4.
So they have to go to 12. They have to go to 12 for the next OS, if assuming that they keep the same numbering scheme. True.
I mean, yeah, because they've been calling it. Yeah, because what was it? It was 10, 15, 10, 16.
Yeah,
and yeah, they instead of it being they're not doing
if they had gone
the point series,
if they'd gone like 11 and then 11.0.1.2.3, then they could have gotten away with having an 11.1 as
maybe they decided they're just not going to stay with the same number as they did when they did with 10. But
iPad OS, Mac OS. All right.
Yeah.
Let's see. Facebook user says, "Really?" I have to say, I don't appreciate your sarcastic tone there, Mr. Facebook user. That Mac OS 11 can go for decades. Just kidding. You can have all the question marks you want.
Oh, but by the way, there's it just came up. 11.5 beta is updating right now on my machine here.
Okay. So I'm not crazy.
No, I went into my developer account too. I checked. So
all right.
You're right.
Now this next one is kind of a humdinger. Pavel Durov, who is Telegram's founder, slams Apple over hardware and software, which on the face of it is fine. And this is editorial for me, but some of the comments themselves were really stupid. He made the comments after a New York Times article claiming that Apple's security is compromised in China, and there'll be more on that later, but also slammed the iPhone, saying that when he has to use one, it's like being back in the Middle Ages, because, King Arthur and his iPhone were just a thing. With its iPhone 60 hertz display, just can't compete. Can't compete, Dave, with some Android phones and their 120 hertz displays. He also called Apple users digital slaves because Apple won't allow side-loaded apps from other stores, and that you can only use iCloud to natively back up your data. And that's important because it's true and it's not true. It's true that out of the box, you can only back up to iCloud. Out of the box. But there is nothing stopping anyone from getting Dropbox or Box or Microsoft's OneDrive or Google Drive or name your system of choice for backups outside of iCloud. Let's see. He also says that Apple's approach is appreciated by communist China, that he says has complete control over apps and data for users in that country. So, Mr. Pavel Durov, what do you think about all that, Dave?
Yeah, I didn't really saw much attention to this, but it seems like he's going a little over the top here, talking about this. Yeah, just it doesn't make much sense to be saying that. I mean, then move to Android if you don't want Telegram to be on iOS.
They do also sell on Android, but yeah, if you really feel this way as a developer, and you feel that strongly about Apple, and you feel that strongly about the people that use its hardware and software, why are you still on iOS? What, take it off of iOS if you really feel that way, or is it money? Don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't make much sense to me.
No.
Why he just would be going on a rant like this. I mean, I mean, yeah,
Well,
okay.
you saw the title for the show this week, right?
Yeah, he's a drunk.
Pavel is drunk. All right.
Yeah, I didn't. I'll be honest. I don't have much I can give you on this. I didn't really get a chance to look at this story too closely.
I've never used Telegram, and
No, I haven't either.
Not because he's drunk, but just because it doesn't offer me anything that I personally want. There's nothing wrong with the software itself. There's a lot of very, very happy people that use it and use it every day,
Right.
and that's fine. But no, I've never used it myself, and this certainly doesn't incentivize me to go out and get it. I'll tell you that. So
No.
why you would do this? It's very confusing. And apparently, a Facebook user is Marcus.
How could you, Marcus?
I'm stunned. How could it be? How could it be? All right. Let's see. Apple says the New York Times, this is talking about the story that we were just talking about before, is wrong about its report that the Chinese government has control over apps, messages, photos, documents, and locations of Chinese citizens in the country because of claimed vulnerabilities in iCloud data centers in China. Now, they know about the locations of all their citizens because they're really good at that. They've done that for a long, long time.
Oh, yeah.
The encryption keys for this data, which is required to make it easy to access as compared to muck if you don't, is usually controlled and stored in different facilities than where the data itself is stored. Chinese law, however, doesn't allow for that. And they also haven't allowed for the usual hardware security modules. I've never heard of these before, where those keys are usually kept. Apparently, it's a French company that makes the ones that they use everywhere else. Now, in response to the article, Apple according to the article, not in response to it, but according to the article, Apple created new devices to store them instead. Apple claims to control those keys and that no data has been compromised for any of its users. Now, having said that, Apple still has to obey the laws of the countries in which they operate. And this is a fine line that tech companies serving overseas has to walk on each and every day, especially
China.
Well, not just China, Russia as well, certain countries in the Middle East. Heck, well, I don't know how, certainly there's quite a few countries in Africa and as well as in Central South America that would also fall
Brazil.
in line. Well, not only Venezuela,
Cuba.
Yeah. I don't even know if you can get iPhones in Cuba. But regardless, Apple, if they have an official presence in any of these countries, they have to obey the laws of those countries. That's how it works. Because if you don't, then you don't operate in those countries.
Right.
Now, so far, according to Apple, and this applies mostly in China, they have made some concessions to China based on Chinese law, where they keep their iCloud servers in China. They keep the keys to the data in China in those facilities. And so far, according to Apple, they have not released any information on Chinese users outside of what Chinese law dictates they have to when presented with a legitimate, what's a good word? Kind of like, if Apple is presented with a warrant here in the US, there is some certain kind of data that I believe that they can give they can't give you passwords, and they can't give you what it is that's going to open those phones, but there is some information that they can give. But as far as location goes, they don't even need to go to Apple for that. They can go to any of the carriers that these phones all operate in, because every single one of these phones are bouncing off of towers every day, so they can triangulate exactly where you are, just based right on that alone. That's got nothing to do with Apple,
right?
So that's gloom, doom, and despair on all of us, I guess. So what do you think? Do we say yay or nay on Apple's stuff over there in China? I mean, again, all we have is Apple's word. I mean, that they haven't allowed their systems to be compromised.
I don't see Apple that they allow it to be compromised. I mean, they're abiding the laws of China. They want that China is a very lucrative place to be doing business. They're selling a lot of products there, and they want to keep that happy. But I don't think they're compromising here of this, at least from what I'm reading here. But it is what it is. I mean, you can't control the data centers that are in China. I mean, they want control of them, and it's it's hard to not have vulnerabilities when you have them out there. It really is. So I just can't have much else to say on it other than let's hope things are being secure and Apple's being smart with it. If Apple didn't feel comfortable with it, then I would be confident thinking that they wouldn't do it.
Well, the weird thing is Apple is probably one of the biggest employers of workers in China.
Yeah.
One of the biggest, if not the biggest.
Didn't know that. Oh, because of the Foxconn and all that?
Yeah. Well, and it's all contract. It's not like Apple owns
right.
these manufacturing facilities. It's all contract work.
But they're paying for it.
But they're paying for it. And so all of these factories located in China that are making these products, it's almost like Apple has a grip on China as much as China has a grip on Apple, because those factories are physically located in China. So if the Chinese government tomorrow wanted to come out and say, okay, that's it, you can't make stuff for Apple anymore, there wouldn't really be much that Apple could do about it. But at the same time, that would throw probably millions of people out of work all at the same time. So it's really hard to say exactly where it's going to go. I know that there's been a big push by a lot of companies lately to stop creating stuff, stop manufacturing stuff in China, and not necessarily to bring it back to the U.S., but to diversify your supply chain a little bit. So, and even Apple's doing it. They've got some iPhone factories in India. They've moved some stuff to Vietnam. A lot of the M series chips, I believe, are made in Taiwan. So they're branching out a little bit, and they're trying not to be so reliant on China, which frankly is probably a good idea at this point.
I think so.
Yeah. So what else you got? You got anything else for us tonight?
No, I think you covered quite a bit of this stuff tonight. We'll be talking a lot about more of it tomorrow.
That's right. So if you've enjoyed this conversation tonight, make sure that you go and you check out. And where else is? Well, let's just go right into it. Where can people find you? Where can people find this live show tomorrow night for In Touch with iOS?
In Touch with iOS at intouchwithios.com. We'll be posting links in Facebook. And we stream live on YouTube, so you'll be able to watch the stream live. The Mac to the Future team, I always post it in there, so we'll get that audience. I think pretty much that's probably a good chunk of your audience right now is Mac to the Future, since it's part of their group. So, and you can also find me on Mac Voices Live every Tuesday. We just did that yesterday, and actually it was a short show, which was great.
I know. It's the world's only hour show that takes nearly 2 hours to record.
Yeah, but because he ends up having a lot of episodes because he cuts them down to 35 or 40 minutes. So, and then I'm on the Mac Show through the British Tech Network on Fridays usually, depending on my schedule. And Dave G65 is my Twitter handle.
And you can find me. My email address is guy@mymac.com. Twitter handles is MacParrot and or VertShark. The other podcast, there's the MyMac.com podcast that I do with Gaz every single week. As well as, I say this with a laugh, Guy's Daily Drive, which has been
ancient
off of its wheels for almost 2 months now, I think. I've got to get back to that. I've got so much content that I've got to start working harder on, but it's so very, very hard. And of course, the Mac the Future podcast, livecast that you're watching right now, every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Thank you all so very, very much for joining us this evening. We really appreciate the fact that you take the time to be here, you take the time to listen, you take the time to download. It is greatly appreciated. Don't forget about tomorrow night's In Touch with iOS livecast, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Dave, thank you for joining me this evening.
Thank you for having me.
And we will see all of you. See, the bokeh doesn't work when I get my finger that close. It just goes out of focus. Damn it. We'll see you all next week right here on the Mac to the Future livecast. Go.